Hello, my name is Anthony Thyssen, and I'll be covering Passing, a poem by Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes was born February 1st, 1902, to a black mother and a white father in Joplin, Missouri. He is one of the earliest innovators of jazz poetry, which was really a growing form of art at that time, and he is a leader of the Harlem Renaissance, which at the time was called New Negro Movement, which was a social, cultural, and artistic explosion that took place in Harlem, New York back in the 1920s. While most known for his poetry, he was also known as a social activist, a novelist, a playwright, and a columnist. Hughes' paternal great-grandmothers were African-American slaves, while his paternal great-grandfathers were white slave owners, which gives him and his family a very interesting viewpoint on life at that time. Hughes was biracial, and his work often reflected that. Passing is clearly an example of that. Some other work of his that reflect that are The Ways of White Folks, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, in The Weary Blues, My People, and Slave on the Block, which is a poem that we read back in Module 3. Passing is a story of Jack, a biracial man with a white complexion. Jack made the decision to abandon his family and culture in order to live a life of a white man. Jack did not want the stereotypes of being black to follow him his whole life. Hiding his culture put him in the dominant group so he could enjoy the easiest access to the cultural, economic, and social advantages in society at that time. Passing is written as a letter to his mother that he sees in passing, but they do not acknowledge it. Jack starts the letter showing remorse for not acknowledging his mother in passing, while also being appreciative towards her for not approaching him while they passed. He says, "I felt like a dog, passing you downtown last night and not speaking to you. You're great though. Didn't give a sign that you even knew me, let alone I was your son." Jack explains that his mother urged him to take advantage of being light-skinned and having the opportunity of having white privilege, which comes with a variety of benefits and courtesies that Africans, especially at that time, did not have. He explains how his life has gone since he has distanced himself from his family and his culture, and why doing so was the best thing for him. Jack was with his girlfriend when he passed his mother. He says, "If I hadn't had the girl with me, Ma, we might have talked." Jack talks very highly of his girlfriend throughout this poem, saying that she's one he plans to marry one day. He expresses that her and her family do not have much prejudice, and he's very happy about that, and that was really the best thing for him in the transition of leaving his culture. But then that leaves the question: if she did not have any prejudice towards black people, then why couldn't he introduce her to his mother? But then that brings another quote that he said about her later on in the poem, where she says, "Darkies are so graceful and gay," when discussing a movie with black people in it. And this connects to a different quote from a different Hughes poem, "The Slave on the Block." "Oh, I say now, that would be lovely. He's so utterly Negro," says Michael Carraway in that story when his wife discusses painting a black man. Neither of these things that either of these two people say are negative necessarily, these microaggressions are very detrimental to a non-dominant group, and in a way it's like looking down on that non-dominant group. Jack expresses gratitude that he makes $65 a week despite it being during the Depression. He makes it clear that he would not obtain that job if his boss knew he was biracial. "When I look at a colored boy porter who sweeps out the office, I think that's That's what I might be doing if I wasn't light-skinned enough to get by. No matter how smart that boy'd get to be, they would never hire him for a clerk in the office, which is a job that Jack has." That was a quote directly from Jack in that story. Another quote from him is, "Some white people certainly don't like colored people, do they? If they did, then I wouldn't have to be passing to keep my good job, Jack." Which is him expressing another time of him expressing that he would not have the job or the life he has now if he didn't pass as white. Well, Jack does not fear being caught passing as much as he used to be because he's gotten away with it more and more, and he resembles a white person in every single way. There are still some serious concerns that he has that he believes will jeopardize his life as a white man. He says, "If Gladys or Charlie, which are members of his family, were to meet me in the street, they might not be as tactful as you were, because they don't seem to be very happy about my passing for white." Jack seems to see them as a threat to the life that he has gotten for himself since he's declared himself a white person. And he even goes as far as saying that he wishes that they would just move somewhere else so he wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. Jack has also said that if he ever had a child that turned out to be black, he would do everything he can to deny that that is his child, just so he can continue to live a life as a white man. It is very clear that Jack will not let anything get in the way of him becoming a successful white man in the world. Jack has an invisible identity that he is terrified will be revealed. Me, personally, I can understand why he would want the best life for himself possible, but it appears he is being selfish in some regards. It still seems that he could have talked to his mother that night even though he was with his girlfriend. It's definitely not okay that he wouldn't deny his child if it comes out a certain way, just to protect the life that he wants. With that being said, I believe this poem shows the struggles of being of a biracial family in an honest way that shows Jack just trying to get the most out of life in a world that is dominated by institutional racism. And it's very interesting watching Jack try to balance being selfish and being selfless with his family. And this last slide is just showing why Jack believes that if he came out as a black person, he wouldn't get the job that he wanted with these statistics here. And that is Passing by Langston Hughes.